Hi, everybody. Hopefully, everybody is doing well tonight. I'm getting better at this, Slowly but surely, I'm coming on and I'm understanding how to do it. It's running smoother. So, I appreciate everybody's patience and giving me time to understand all this technology. So, welcome everybody tonight. We're going to come on Friday and talk about the temperature blanket I did and what things and techniques and tips and tricks I found making my temperature blanket. So we're on tonight, and we had a lovely time away in Cincinnati this weekend. We had just a very restful day yesterday. We were exhausted. We got up about 6 o'clock in the morning and got ready to leave for Cincinnati on Sunday, and then drove and then went to the baby shower and then went back to the hotel and then went back out and met my nieces and my sister-in-law for dinner, and then we went back and crashed. So we were just busy all day Sunday, and then we woke up and had breakfast with my mother-in-law and grandmother, and then went and saw my nephews, and then left and drove home. So we were just pooped by the time we got home, and then we just rested all day yesterday. So we totally had a wonderful time. They loved the baby blanket and the booties. And so if you wanted to see a little bit about our trip, I did post a little video just to show you the hotel in Mariemont, Ohio. If you ever have an opportunity, it's just a quaint little town out of Cincinnati. And it is just, we just really had, the staff could not have been nicer. We had a really wonderful time, and it was good to see family, and I'm glad that we went. And I'm excited to be back home, but I'm glad that we could, be a part of such a special event in my sister-in-law and brother-in-law's life. So I'm hope everybody is doing well tonight. I wanted to come on because before I left, I decided to talk about, hi Christine, come and hang out. That's what it's all about. I decided to come, we started talking about it last week, about what to name the Facebook group. And I had kind of toiled around the idea of the crafty crew with a little bit of, and I wanted to kind of stay with a little bit of the boat theme a little bit, because I almost want to direct back to the lifeboat as just a great place for connection. It's where we certainly got our inspiration for this channel. And hi, Sandy. Just that's where we wanted to do. And my husband have a love for lighthouses. And so that was one thing that I thought, I wonder if I could any way to be able to, use that in the thing, in the group name. And so I thought, we could do the Lighthouse Crew. Well, I went on Facebook, and there was a group name of the Lighthouse Crew, which was helping people with sobriety, and I didn't really want to step on their toes. So I thought, we're just going to make ourselves the Lighthouse Beacons. And I thought, man alive, if you listen to what the verb is of that word alone, it's talking about being a beacon of light for people that are going through a difficult time, and encouragement. And I thought, boy, that's just so fitting. We can be called the Lighthouse Beacons. And I thought we all need to be out there being beacons of light. And the first part of this whole concept is connection. The second part is creativity. And we have our own little creativity niche, whatever that may be. I don't want anybody to ever, criticize anybody in the Facebook group for whatever creativity that they decide to do. If it keeps you from hurting, I don't care if you go to Dollar Tree and buy the craft sticks and glue them together. If you have spent 3 hours making a beautiful house that is just put together with pops, with craft sticks, and you didn't spend 3 hours hurting, or you didn't spend 3 hours in pain, or maybe you're thinking, well, I didn't go to the refrigerator and eat something I'm not supposed to eat, then it was worth every penny of it. If it was one of the adult coloring books, or going to Dollar Tree, they have coloring books. If it's a kid's coloring book, I don't care what it is that we're crafty in. We can be crafty in so many ways, and it doesn't have to be something that's artsy. To me, I do crochet, but my crochet is just as crafty as somebody saying, listen, I went on YouTube channels and found Dollar Tree crafts and put something beautiful together. It's, to me, just as crafty as what I'm doing. And if it helps you through the battles of life and helps you to not focus on pain or whatever it is, more power to it. So I want people to post things that they're doing that are beautiful, and everybody has a beautiful talent. You can say, you know what, I can't draw aside, anything. I can't. My thing is, stick figures. That's about the best I can do when it comes to drawing. But maybe you're somebody that does wonderful in writing, letters to people. We have a lady here that her way of connection with people is to that's your nickname, is to end up, she goes ahead and writes cards to people. She has a budget she puts aside with stamps and note cards. You can get them from Dollar Tree, and she sends out encouraging cards when somebody's going through a rough time with Bible verses on it. So maybe you can say, you know what, I can do that. I've got people within my circle that need a handwritten card that says, hey, somebody's thinking about you, somebody's praying for you, you were thought of today. It doesn't take much, and maybe that's your creative and your crafty and creative part of yourself. I know for my dad, he was a pest control guy, and he did graphs. When he had to go and inspect a house, he had to do graphs. He could do graphs wonderfully, but you couldn't get him to draw very much. But I can tell you where his crafty gene came in. You know where his creative gene came in? He would go into the grocery store. We had Publix down where we lived. And he would go and know the produce guy's name and his children and his family. He would know the deli's people at the deli. He would know the bakery. He would know the people in the store. He would say hi. I mean, he just knew everybody, and that was something that was special in him. It wasn't anything that he did with his hands, but he did. He connected with people, and he talked to people, and he let them know that somebody cared about them. So there's so many things that you can do. So please feel free to come. First of all, connect. And if you are doing something creative that is not necessarily with your hands, maybe you're starting, collecting, mouthwash and toothbrushes and granola bars and other things. Maybe some people within your church make hats and scarves that they can knit or crochet and give them to you, and you can put them in a bag, in a Ziploc bag, and hand them out to people that are on the corners that are homeless, that we can help them in that little way. We don't have a large population here in Mansfield, really, that's an issue, but in other places that is, and that's something that maybe you could bring together people and start bringing together people within your church that crochet and knit, and they can start connecting. There's so many things. There's hospitals will let you go and just hold the babies. They need somebody to hold the babies in the hospitals. And to me, that's just as creative as someone sitting and making a blanket for somebody. There's just so many things that can warrant that. So please, when you go into the Facebook group, the description and the link is in the Facebook group to go in. I'm not going to make it private yet, but if we feel we need to make it private, then we will go down that route of making it private. I don't want to start having to, monitor everybody's post that they do within the group before anything posts. I don't want to have to do that, but if I have to, I will, because I want it to be a positive place where we can be proud to show off everything, anything that somebody is doing to help them through their everyday life. I know for myself, I can do a blanket and somebody can tell me it's beautiful. And I will look at it and I know I can see every little mistake. So if somebody says, you know what, all I can afford is going to get craft sticks at Dollar Tree and gluing them together. And somebody goes on and says, oh, do you see they got glue on the side? Oh, well, they've got this problem over here. Oh, well, they did that. No, we're not doing any of that. We need to let them know it's beautiful, because you can let the air out of their sails just by doing that. Believe me, they can see all that. They're not interested in that. They just want to have everything to happen to be lifted up and know, you know what? I'm proud. I was able to get through 3 hours and I wasn't hurting as bad, or I wasn't as depressed. And look what I made. So we need to do everything that we can to lift them up, not put them down. Believe me, if they've done whatever they've done, they already know and they can see all the errors and all the mistakes. We don't need to be the ones to point that out to them. I have made beautiful blankets, and I can tell you where I've made my mistakes and where I feel I can do better. They know it. We need to say, you know what, that is beautiful. You did a great job. I remember being in, I worked as a cashier in an auto mall, and we had these coloring books that we would give out to children. And I saw this little boy, and he was there, and I can't tell you, when I know as a parent, I would go places, I would take a backpack, and it was in every car my daughter was in, full of, crowns and coloring books and paper and cards and all this kind of stuff. There was even Band-Aids in it. And I'll tell you what, my grandmother found the cheapest way to entertain a child was to get a pack of Band-Aids. And even when my daughter got married, in with the kids' favor bags, we put a pack of Band-Aids in honor of my grandmother. Because my daughter could be, usually it was us that was covered in Band-Aids, but she would be so busy for a couple of hours playing with those Band-Aids, because she'd be peeling back the thing, then peeling the things off and sticking them. You can go in Dollar Tree and get a pack of Band-Aids. So, we would have a little, backpack full of stuff to keep her busy for the time that we were in an appointment or wherever we are with her. And so this little boy didn't have anything. So I said to the mother, can I give him a coloring book? She said, yes. I can tell you, I sat there, and my husband will tell you, I have a very hard time sometimes going, and I had to, because I was working and I didn't want to say anything, but I wanted to sit there just saying, would you stop fussing at him for not drawing in the lines? He was maybe 3 or 4 years old. And you know what? 3 or 4 years old. And he wasn't drawing in the lines. And I'm sitting there going, he's only 3 or 4. Let him draw outside the lines. Goodness gracious. If any time in his life he can draw outside the lines and not be perfect, it's now. Don't be putting it on him that he has to be perfect to draw on these lines. And I remember sitting there going, I wish I hadn't given him this coloring book. I don't know if it was his mother or his grandmother, but I was just sitting there going, man, I wish I hadn't done it. I wish I had just given him a piece of paper with some crowns so there was no lines, so she didn't have to criticize that he wasn't drawing in the lines. It is an excellent idea. We had a friend of my grandmother who had a little girl, and she gave them a package of Band-Aids. And they had a 2-hour trip back home, and they called, after they got home and said it was the quietest 2-hour trip that they ever had, because you have to open up the Band-Aid, then you have to take off the little ends, and you have to stick it. And we used to be covered in Band-Aids, or the doll baby would be covered in Band-Aids, but it did keep my daughter entertained. And when we were putting together the kids' favor bags, because she probably had about 20 kids at her reception, there was a package of Band-Aids and a story about the fact that this was in honor of her great-grandmother, who started the whole Band-Aid thing. But we used to have literally a backpack in every car that my daughter was in. My car, my parents' car. And so, I know for myself, I don't go into a doctor's office without my crochet bag. And you're expecting a child to stay in there for an hour or two doing nothing? And goodness gracious, get them off the iPads and put them on coloring and doing something with their hands. But I want to make sure that whatever we do inside the group is nothing but positivity. If there is any kind of negativity or any criticism that anybody's going to post anything that they have created or done, and please be more than welcome to put in posts about, just uplifting stuff. And if you're having a rough day, let us know it in the group. I'm just thought making it public for right now would make it easier, for everybody to find it at first, and then if we need to turn it into private as it grows, we will. But I just thought, we need to be beacons to everybody out there to say, let's start finding ways to connect with people. Connection is so important. And as somebody who spent a majority of her life, and this is another topic that I plan to discuss. My husband will tell you, I'm a bulldog. I'm the sweetest person you'll probably ever meet, but you mess with my family and move out of the way. I can be a bulldog, and I can be an intense individual. I really haven't ever met a stranger, thanks to my dad. I can talk somebody's ear off. I was raised in a Greek culture, which I certainly want to talk about different cultures and how that I think affects people and so forth. And so I've had difficulty with some people within my life not knowing, because they may be wallflowers and they may be quiet. How do I interact with this person? This person seems overwhelming to me. And having a daughter with special needs also made a barrier for a lot of people, because a lot of people didn't know how to deal with that. And that's another topic that we're going to talk about, is what my experience is of being that side of the mother part of it, and having to do that. And I remember I was probably, I was in my 30s, and I was sitting on a couch with a friend of mine in Florida, dear friend of mine. She's a sister to me in Christ. And I remember we were trying to put together this selfie stick. And you know what? We were laughing so hard over the selfie stick. And I remember getting in the car and crying, because I thought, I don't remember the last time I sat on a couch with a girlfriend laughing over a selfie stick. And I remember being so happy that I did, but at the same time I was so sad that I didn't have anybody that I could sit on the couch with and laugh over a selfie stick. My husband gets me laughing all the time, and he's my best friend. But there's something different when you can sit on the couch with a girlfriend and just laugh. And I didn't have that. And I had a lot of friends that just kind of didn't understand. And when you're trying to raise a child with special needs, it takes a lot of energy from you, and you often don't have a lot of energy to give to other people other than just taking care of the situation at hand. And so that, I think, needs to be a topic. I was talking to my mom tonight. I said, you know what, this is our channel as well, and I would like for her to come on because she struggled through life with not having trouble asking people for help. And I think that's an important topic. Sometimes, and my husband will tell you the same thing. He'll sit there, do you need help? No, I can do it myself. As I'm walking in pain through to try to take the laundry into the laundry room, and I'm sitting there crying because I'm hurting, and I should be able to say, stop. You need to ask for help. You can't do this all by yourself. But sometimes we put all the weight on our shoulders and we try to just keep going whether or not we think we can or not. And it sometimes can be difficult. I totally get it. I will run through a brick wall. My husband will tell you, he'll say to me, I'm alive because you fought for me. I have fought for my daughter over and over and over again. My husband's a diabetic, so he wears a Dexcom and he wears an Omnipod, and he had his Omnipod and Dexcom within 2 weeks. And the guy looked at me and said, you are wearing what you have on you, and I got it from my daughter too at the time, because of your wife who didn't stop. She just kept going and going and going and going, hours upon hours on the phone with the insurance company. It is not a place I'd ever want to work, is for an insurance company. I thought I'd rather go for a root canal or pull a tooth out than have to go through that. But I will always take care of my family first, and then I'll take care of myself. And there's sometimes I have to, especially struggling with fibromyalgia, I have to say, wait a minute, I got to take care of me. I couldn't do anything yesterday. I was very sore. I was tired. I just couldn't do anything. I just was exhausted. I had to take care of myself. And sometimes we forget to remind ourselves that we have to take care of ourselves. So I really want that Facebook group. I think it's a great name. The Lighthouse Beacons, let's be a beacon. The first is connection. The second is creativity. And I think that we could probably be surprised with people showing us how their creativity, what they're doing to be creative. I don't think it has to be something in yarn. It doesn't have to be something. It could be so many things, and I think that we'll probably learn so many different things that we didn't realize. Oh, well, that's a great way to be creative. Maybe it's calling 10 people, having 10 people on a list that you're going to call in the month and spend an hour on the phone, and you're going to talk to them. I mean, that in itself would be, you know what? I don't do anything like that, but I get on the phone once a day with somebody and I talk to them for an hour. I reach out and let them know, I'm thinking about them and what's going on in their life. Maybe it's bringing in foster animals and fostering them. There are so many things that I think that we can do that we are probably going to be surprised of how many things that aren't actual art things that are creative. So I really wanted to make sure that when I did the group, that I didn't just lock it down to crochet. I modified the banner. We have, and I'm going to try not to cry. Christine, I'm going to try. I'll have to show you all one time. We had one of Josh's family members who did that, and she did a beautiful job. She did one for Josh and I will get it out and show everybody one time. She did one for my mom because my mom fell in love with this flamingo. Now we always get her something flamingo-y for Christmas called Heliacula. And I probably said that wrong, but anyway, it was on one of those zoo stories or something, and it was a sweet little flamingo, and she just fell in love with this thing. and she did nail art, and she did a beautiful job. So I had her do this beautiful nail art with this little flamingo on it, and we proudly put it in my mother's bedroom. She unfortunately was in her early 30s, and she passed away in a car accident. And that was, I've been to funerals in my life, but that one was a hard one. She left some children behind, and that was a hard one. But I'm so glad that we have a little piece of her. But it is a beautiful artwork. It's actually something I wanted to try at one point too. And please, when you do some, post them. I don't care what they post them. If it is drawing out of an adult's coloring book, post it. If we got an adult coloring book and my husband, my mother, and I had the same picture, I guarantee you all of them would look totally different. Every solitary one would look different. They'd look totally different. I was thinking when I changed the Blessed to Crochet, and I'm sure somebody can do a better job than I did, but I just did it. I did a little bit better version of the not Blessed to Crochet, the Lighthouse Beacons banner in the Facebook group. You're doing it. Does it really matter? You're doing it. If you don't pick it up, you're never. I couldn't believe how far I've gotten in crochet. I don't know where my first hat is, but I can guarantee you I've gotten a lot better. But when I was doing the banner for the thing for the Lighthouse Beacons, I went through and I was trying to choose a font. And I thought, do we realize how many fonts are in this to choose from? Hi, Mono. I mean, do we really realize how many fonts? I think there was. I just kept scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. I'm thinking, how many fonts are there? If you go into Canva alone, how many fonts are in there? There's tons. To make the Lighthouse Beacons, I could have done it in 1,000 different fonts. And none of them are going to look the same. We were not created to be the same. Thank goodness. We are all different and we're all unique. We were not created to be the same. And I'm so thankful for that. So, you know what? I don't care what it is. I just want that Facebook group to be respectful and kind. I couldn't believe it. I thought, I could choose from so many fonts to make one word. Look how much it is. But I want everybody in that group to be respectful and kind. If you're not going to be, then you need to not be in that group. If I need to make it private, I will. But I wanted to keep it open just for people to get in and out easily and find it easily. I'm an admin on there. My husband is. And so if we see anything that is just not appropriate, it's going to be removed. And if I don't want to block people, but I will, because I'm going to be protective of the people that are in there. They are entrusting that I'm providing, and we are providing, a safe place for people to go. And so I want to make sure that if people want to sit there and if somebody posts a picture of somebody, a stick drawing of somebody, that's the best they can do, then beautiful. Let's do nothing. There's enough stuff in this world that somebody's taking a pen on an everyday basis and letting the air out of you just a little bit by little bit. Let's not us do it. If we're going to be beacons out there for everybody, thank you. I mean, let's be a beacon to everybody. Let's show them first of all, the connection is something that we can do. And this, yeah, I agree with Tommy. This is an experiment. But goodness gracious, what a great experiment. If we can do it in a way that's positive, we're going to have people that are going to be negative, and we're going to have people that are going to say things and whatever. I have a very thick skin. I've had to. And you know what? I'm going to be protective of everything. Have a good night, Sandy. Thank you for dropping in. I'm going to be protective of this group. And I'm going to be protective of the Lighthouse Beacons, because we're going to be a beacon out there. And I think that that's a great name. If anybody has a better graphic that they could do, and they want to take the thing I put on and make it better by keeping what's kind of in there, in the, you know, the elements that are in there, go right ahead and do that. I did put an anchor on the boat, just because I think that in life we need an anchor. God certainly is our anchor, but I also did that in honor of my dad. He served in the military for 28 years. So I wanted to show, because when I did the favorites, I wanted to show this. If I can find it. I brought my crochet bag with me when we went out of town. Do you think I did any crocheting? No. We were too busy. I never thought we'd be that busy. We were exhausted. It's been rainy and cold all day, so been huddled up. So I got, those that remember me doing my ice yarn order, I got this, and this was one of the ones I got, and then this was the other one that I got. So I decided to put these two together. Now, this one that I started with, I started originally doing a little bit from this, and then a little bit from this, starting from the center, because usually that's where you start, is the center. And I actually took this cake of yarn and I rolled it starting from the center and reversed it, and I'll show you why. So this is what I've done so far. Let's see if I can do it. Okay, so it's a corner to corner. You can go on to YouTube and just type corner to corner. You will come up with a dozen different blankets that are corner to corner. So that is the start of it. I started with the brown, and then you can see the colors coming with the cake. And then I put in, I forgot to grab that one, but it's like an ivory color. I had an ivory, so I just used that, and I could get that later. But then starts in with this kind of bluish. If you can kind of see the way I've done it, that's kind of the basis of it. My aunt, for those that do not know it, my aunt has been diagnosed with stage 4 lung and liver cancer. And so I'm in the process of making her some hats. And I'm also making her a lap blanket, because I want her, and I'm making it very light. She tends to run hot. And so I want to make her a little lap blanket that she can put on when she's going to chemo, so that she knows that her family here in Ohio love her and are thinking about her. Sorry, I'm trying not to cry. And we're thinking about her during this hard time, and that whenever doesn't think that there's people around her that support her and love her, that she can put this blanket around her lap or around herself and wrap her up and know that we're giving her a hug. I can't do much from here because she's in Florida, but I can certainly send it. And she is a beach going person. She loves the beach. So I kind of thought as I was doing this, if I can do it this way, you can see kind of like the sky, kind of like almost like a sunset on a beach, and then as you get down, you've got the water. So when you do it, it's going to look like this. So you can see the water. And then they'll be brown, and then it's going to go like this. So if I have to use this other skein, this other cake, I'm going to start from this end, the opposite, so that they meet. So it'll start from here outward. So we'll see if I have to use it. I was afraid that, I thought, well, I'll just use this one altogether. But I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough of this to make an entire blanket. So that is what I am working on. I have been working on it since yesterday. And I have a temperature blanket that I've been commissioned to do that I've got to get going on. I've worked on it a little bit, but I got to work on it some more. But I wanted to get this done only because of what she's going through. I didn't want to wait my time, but I thought, oh, I'll take my bag with me and crochet. Nope, that wasn't going to work. I didn't crochet at all. I was too tired. As people may have noticed, when I came live last time, I had a wall here. I had like a wall hanging that I had done that was here. And we live in an apartment, so I had to take it down so I didn't damage the wall. And I've got to go get something to hang it up right so that I make sure that I'm not damaging the wall behind it. And I put it up really quick because I wanted to see how it was. But this is it. And so this is going to go like it was before on the wall. So that this is what's going to be hanging. So that'll be nice. And I will post this when I get it hung up. There was a lady I found this pattern. Actually, it would make a really good blanket. It was an easy pattern. If you wanted a blanket with a little bit of holes in it, it would be fine. If you wanted a lightweight blanket. But I just have it hooked on to this right now, which isn't very attractive, but I'm going to hang it on to something better. But this is going to go back here like this, and I will post where I got it from, because she had several different wall hangings that she had put up, and she had several different wall hangings that she had put up, and that was one of them, which I never thought about using a wall hanging in crochet. I thought that was really cool. It was like granny squares was one of them. So that's what's going to go up there. My husband has not been feeling the greatest today, and it was just all yucky out today. And then tomorrow we're going to go meet up with my daughter. So, and she gets her mic. She'll have a matching mic, but I guarantee you the color she'll use is different. So I said to her next week, we're going to get her on to do a live chat, which will be really interesting. We'll make that fun one next week when we figure this whole thing out. So please go check out the Lighthouse beacons. I think it's just a great concept. And if you like lighthouses, let us know in there. Let us know if you like them. We love them. My husband and I always have liked lighthouses. We actually spent our honeymoon in St. Augustine, which was beautiful, and the lighthouse there is beautiful. So we love lighthouses, and I love the reference. I love how they in the middle of a storm they stand strong. I just think that they're just awesome. I've just always loved lighthouses, and so I just think that's just a great thing for our Facebook group. If you've whatever you're doing that is crafty or creative, please post it in there. Give us some ideas. Maybe there's things I haven't even thought of. It doesn't have to come out of a craft store. It can be something that you're doing that is connecting you with somebody else. Can be enough to say, listen, I'm doing this and I'm connecting with somebody else, and in the process, I'm being creative. So let us know what it is. We just ask for people to be respectful. If there's things that we feel are not appropriate within the group, they're going to be taken out. And I don't want to have to be blocking anybody, but again, I'm going to be protective. Thank you very much. If you all will please say a prayer for her. Her name is Patty. Please send a prayer and love her way. She's a tough cookie. She's been through a lot in her life. And I'm well, welcome. And so she's been through a lot in her life, and she's gonna come through it. I said to my daughter recently, I said, you know what? Sometimes, was it my daughter? No, I said it to my mom. I said to my mom, I said, you know what? We were talking about something. I said, I said it to my daughter recently. I said, don't put handcuffs on God, because we don't know what he can do. We've got to just turn things over to him and say, Lord, you've got the power. To be diagnosed with stage 4 lung and liver cancer, you better be taking God's hand and walking on that water. And so unfortunately, we can't go down there. So I can work my little hands and make her a blanket, and we're helping her through some other things right now. And I told her, you can pick up that phone and call me day or night. I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, wake me up. There's very few people that can wake me up, but you're on that list. You can wake me up. So I said, you know what? Don't put those handcuffs on God, because we don't know what he's going to do. But we're just asking for healing and God's will, for whatever he has in store. And she is a believer, so I'm thankful for that. I've had to learn grace and patience, because I've had to say, you know what? At least she's calling. At least she's still texting, and she's still here to do that. So, you know what? I just sit there and say, God, your will be done. That's all I can do. I can't do anything else. I just ask him to do what, do his will. And so, sorry, y'all, I'm trying not to cry. I'm trying not to. But we'll get through it. So anyway, that's where we are. Go in the description if you haven't already and join the Lighthouse Beacons. Let me know what you all think of it, because I'm really excited about it. I just when I kept thinking it's the beacon for connection and creativity, it was like a light bulb came on in my head. It was like, yep, that's it. So I hope everybody likes it. I want to start posting things in there about what people are doing that are creative, and also start talking about how you're connecting with somebody. Give other people ideas on, listen, this is how I'm connecting with others. Maybe it is to write a personal letter and keep it personal. Maybe it's to text somebody once a day. You're going to pick somebody within your group of people that you're texting once a day and making sure that they're okay. Maybe it's calling somebody on the phone. Maybe it's emailing them. Maybe it's just, making sure that your neighbor, we don't know our neighbors anymore. I've lived in the same community for almost 2 years, and I don't know all my neighbors. Maybe it's getting a church group within your church together, because just start talking about how could we do this connection thing better than I think that we're doing it. We're doing it okay, but we can do it a lot better. And so I don't ever want this to be a focus on crochet. We're going to talk about that on Friday. I'm going to talk about my temperature blanket, and kind of the things I learned about it. And there's a lesson even for somebody that's not doing a temperature blanket. I found out through that temperature blanket and making of that temperature blanket, I really had to be organized. I had to have little notes and stuff, and I just couldn't wing it. It wasn't a project like this one that I did for my aunt. I could just wing it. And I could not wing that temperature blanket. And even with this project I'm doing for my aunt, I started it one way, I took it out. I started it another way, and I took it out. It was about the third try before I realized, no, this is the way I want to go, not the other direction. So, you know what? It's just yarn. We make mistakes. We move on. You know what? Sometimes the first attempt at something isn't the way of going. The first attempt may be the 10th attempt before we go, oh, that's it. So, I learned a lot when I did my temperature blanket. I think I did like 3 different attempts to do it. So I think that there's lessons, even though if you're not a crocheter, that you can learn by listening to that live about how I did this. I had to be organized. I couldn't just wing it together and go, okay, let's do this. And I think that my purpose for doing that temperature blanket for my daughter and my daughter and son-in-law were to be able to show them that there's different seasons within their life. Look how much the temperatures, as you can see from the thumbnail that I created, how much the temperatures go in and out and throughout. And I'll make sure too that I put it into here so that when I'm talking about the temperature blanket, I can put it up so everybody can see it within the live. I did it in the thumbnail. But I'm just really excited. I'm just glad people are liking it. I hope they're liking me. And I think that, there's a lot of topics that we can talk about. I think that one of them we can talk about being strong and being strong women. I think that that's a topic to certainly talk about. There's nothing wrong about being strong and independent, but we still need to be able to lean on people when we're going through a difficult time. And I'm thankful I've had a lot of role models in my life. My aunt and aunts in my life. I have a precious niece, and before I left, she had come. We stopped by and saw my nephews, and they were coming home from school, and I was saying goodbye to her, and I just sat down next to her, and I said, "You know what? Your Aunt Mary loves you." And I said, "You know what? You're really special to me." I said, she goes, "Why?" And I said, "Because you were the first one that made me an aunt." And I said, "You're beautiful inside and out." And I said, you can call your Aunt Mary day or night." And I said, "I'll be here for somebody for you to talk to." And I said, this is a girl that's, growing into be a teenager. And how many people do we tell, listen, if you're having a struggle, you can call me. Don't we need that in today's world? Don't we need somebody that says, I'm having a rough day, you can pick up that phone day or night? I tell my daughter, she'll sit there and she'll say, "Mom, I'm sorry to wake you up." I said, "Honey, you can wake me up any time or day or night." And it's funny because sometimes when she calls me, I'll go, "What's wrong?" She goes, "How did you know?" I go, "I can tell." But I told my niece, I said, "You can call me. You need someone to talk to. You need somebody to just listen. You need somebody to just give you a little bit of advice. Your Aunt Mary's here for you." And I let her know how special she was. And I went up to my other niece and I said, "You give me the best hugs." And she does. And I went up to my nephew and said something special. And my other nephew, when I gave the gift at the baby shower to my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and there was a gift for each one of them, and also a gift for my other nephew. I wanted him to know, you're special. And I think it doesn't take much to let people know how special they are. I got a message yesterday, and it made me feel so good. It was from our former musical pastor's wife. And she said to me, she goes, because before they left, I made them a beautiful blanket and got together some gift cards from our church. We got funds together for that. But I also put a soap saver, which is just a pocket for the soap. Tommy talked about it on his channel because I sent some to him too. And I put that in their gift. And she says, I use mine every day and I love it. She goes, I just want you to know how much I use that soap saver and how much I love it. And it put a big smile on my face. I was like, it doesn't take much to let somebody know, hey, you know what? You did something for me today that made me feel special. And I think that that's all about it. I wanted my little niece to know. She's not little anymore, but I wanted her to know, you know what? You need to connect with somebody. I'm right here. And I don't know how many young girls, or people within your family, and that's a whole topic of its own. How many people within your family could you use and benefit by saying to them, you know what, I'm here? Especially our young people of today, to say, I'm here. I'm here if you need to talk. I'm here if you need some advice. I'm here. And I think we need to do it more and more, especially with young people within your family. Let them know that they've got somebody if they need to pick up the phone and talk to. They've got to know we've got their back. Today's world is, it's scary to some degree. It's not easy out there. There was a time my mother used to say, my grandmother used to open the door, let my mom and my uncle out, see you at lunch. They used to come in at lunchtime in the summer, open up the door, let the kids out, and have come back from dinner. You couldn't do that today for anything. You couldn't do that today, but you could do that back then. So we've got to come beside the girls within our family and the boys within our family to say, you know what, you got somebody you can talk to. I'm not always going, and here's the really important part about that. I'm not always going to agree with everything that my nieces or nephews do in their lifetime, as well as my daughter. She knows that. But guess what? I'll never stop loving you. There's nothing you can do, and I've told my daughter my entire life, and as well as my nieces and nephews, there's nothing you could do that will ever stop me from loving you. Nothing. And I'll tell my daughter over and over again, you are beautiful inside and out. Because it's not about outside. It's all about what's on the inside. So I'm going to start really starting to write down topics. Talking about different cultures and different family, different family dynamics. When you're raised in a Greek culture with a Scottish culture as well, if you want to talk about different, go watch my Big Fat Greek Wedding. Absolutely very different. It's a very different kind of culture. And, all those dynamics, and, we do create a family. We are born with a family, but we also can create a family. And I think that we have to realize that within that family unit, there are people of different, they're different people. And we can sit there and go, oh, well, I don't know how to deal with her, so I'm going to go over here. Or we can sit here and say, you know what, we got to figure this out. We got to figure this out. We got to figure out how to do this and talk to each other and get to know each other. And it takes work. I can sometimes come off as a person, and I have to watch that with myself. I can sometimes come off as a little bit a very confident person. It seems at times. I'm not always. I can sometimes be loud and talkative, and I sometimes can be people going, okay, to somebody that's really quiet. And I have to watch that so that I don't be overbearing to somebody that needs me to come in a little bit softer. But we need to be aware of those cues and understand that so that we can connect with people and come in a different level. And I think that those are all worthy discussions and worthy topics to have. And so we can have those topics in the group. I think, and I'm not totally sure, but I think that you can change a group from private to public or public to private, I think. On Facebook, that's funny, Christine. Public to private. And then maybe change it back, I think. I'm not sure because I think eventually that group will need to become public or private just because I think of some of the topics that may come through there. But like I said, I didn't want to do it at first because I wanted it easy to find. I got to tell you a story. I can be a little storyteller. But last night, my daughter's dog is named Mocha. One of these times I'll have her come in here and you'll get to see Mocha. But anyway, she usually doesn't come and sleep in our bed. She have them, it's fine. The more the better. I'm hoping to get past the 50 on the Facebook group, or the YouTube subscribers 50, because then I can go live on my phone, so I'm not restricted to just going live here on the desk and my computer. That'd be nice. But anyway, she usually sleeps in my mom's bed because my mom has, is in there with queen bed and there's more room. But last night she came in. She came in and she lay down, and I've got pictures. She snuggled underneath my husband, the blanket and so forth. And then about, it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, I said, okay, Mocha, ready to go to bed? She got up out of those comforters and she literally came and took her little head and laid it right here in my neck and then just plomped down. And it was like, I'm not going anywhere. And she stayed there for about half an hour, 15 minutes. So last night she slept in our bed. But we have a king size split king bed because my husband tends to like his feet all the way up here to sleep. And I don't like it that way. So we have a split king. And I remember when we were down in Cincinnati and one of my nieces came over, she looked at our bed. And of course, it looks like it has a crack in the middle of it. Because it's a split king. And she just looked and she goes, oh, Aunt Mary. And I said, what is it? She goes, your bed is broken. And I said, no, honey, it's not. I said, it's so that Aunt Mary can, and, Uncle Josh can, have their heads and their feet in different places. But she just thought our bed was broken because it was split down the middle. Oh, I'll never forget that. She looked at me and she just got this big thing. Aunt Mary, just like, oh my goodness. It was a hoot, but it was like, that dog just came and laid on top of me and was like, I'm not going anywhere. It was so funny last night. She was not going to go anywhere, but I will have to come on and show you Mocha. But she is a handful, but I will do that another day, not today. But I'll let you see her. She's a staffy. She takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot. Let's see if I can do this. I'll let you see this. This was her last night. Can you see her? That was her last night. Underneath the covers. You can see her little nose. Right before I told her it was time for bed, and she was like, nope. That was her underneath. She loves to go underneath blankets. She's got the greatest ears in the world. That dog. She's a hoot. I'm trying to find another picture of her. Let's see. Show you her ears. That's my daughter with her. That's the Mocha. Yep. So I have never met, in all my years, the staffies just have this wonderful way of getting here. They're so human. It's not even funny. They're a hoot. She was abused heavily. And the fact that she's where she is because she's gotten a lot of love, but she can, she's gotten a lot of love throughout the years, but she was very heavily abused, unfortunately, and we got her out of that. Those are the ears. That's Mocha. The radar ears. That's her. Yeah, and I crocheted that sweater that she won't wear. This dog does not like clothes. She does not like clothes. You can hear her now. She just barked. But I'll bring her on. But I have to have everything out of the way when I bring her in. Oh boy. Anyway. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Got me laughing so hard I got tears. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to work on my blanket. And then I have to get up in the morning and we're going to go meet my daughter tomorrow. And sometime next week, hopefully I can figure out how to get her on this box thing. And so, bring people to the YouTube channel. Bring them as beacons. The Lighthouse beacons. Find ways to be a beacon, and that's one of the things we're going to talk about. I think that'd be a great thing that we could do. How did you become? How were you a beacon today? Start thinking in that realm. What did you do today? And it doesn't have to cost a penny. What did you do today to be a beacon? If you think about it, what I said to my niece, I was being a beacon for her. You can call Aunt Mary day or night, and I'm going to be here if you need someone to talk to. I was a beacon for her. She may not need it today, but she may need it a year from now. My sister-in-law knows she can do the same thing. My other sister-in-law knows she can do the same thing. Find ways in order to be a beacon, and it does not have to involve yarn or crochet or craft. I want to start looking in the avenue of how we can become beacons for each other and for other people. So I want nothing positivity. Let's put some things in that we're doing that are creative. Let's put things that are creative that maybe don't cost anything. My aunt goes, the one that's dealing with cancer, she goes down to she lives in Florida, and she goes down and loves the beach and loves to go pick up shells. And she will make the most beautiful necklaces that she paints and puts together from the shells she collects on the beach. So it doesn't have to cost anything. But try to find ways in which you can be a beacon to somebody else in little tiny ways that make them know that you care about them. We're going to continue to go back to that story I told about Elvis, about the one that he showed up with that wheelchair for that lady, and he walked in the door and he left, and they were like, "But Elvis, I don't think she knew who you were." That's not the point of the story. The point is he looked over at his bodyguard and says, "It doesn't matter who I am. It matters that she knows someone cares about her." And I think that caring and connection and creativity all go in its way. I mean, think about it. Tommy works on watches. I could never do that, but I can tell you that's an art form. That's art. There's people, you watch people and they make beautiful glass things. There, there's so many things that are beautiful that you think, I could never do that. You know, so everything can be an art form if we find ways to do it. So I'm going to get off here and invite people to the Facebook group. If anybody feels that we need to make that a private group, then let me know, please, because I will turn it into private. I have to research and find out if I make it private, could I make it public again, and so forth. If anybody would like to be considered to be an administrator in the Lighthouse speaking group, please message me on Facebook. I will certainly add them on if they would like to be an admin. I think we're going to probably need more admins just to make sure that everybody is behaving. And I hate to say that, we're all adults, we should be able to behave, but we know that there's people in this world that just don't do it, unfortunately. So if you want to be an admin in the group, or a moderator in the group, or a moderator on this channel, please email me at blessedtocrochet@yahoo.com. Go ahead and message me from the Lighthouse speaking group on Facebook, and I will add you as a moderator or admin. It is, and we're going to continue talking about it, because you can take that nail art and make it your battle plan. If you are dealing, Christine, with any kind of chronic pain, depression, anything, if it helps you to not have to, if it helps you to sit there and nail and do beautiful nail art and do it in order to be able to make yourself better, then do it. And I guarantee you, my first hat looked ridiculous. Nothing compared to what I'm doing today. And it took time. So your first one, you know what? You should take your first nail art you did, that you got back into it, do it, and proudly put that on the wall. And say, I did that. I did that. And we'll figure out, maybe I know I can put the chat inside this OBS, but I'm still learning, guys. Eventually I'll get to StreamYard, but StreamYard costs after a while, so I didn't want to do that, because I really didn't want to be nailed down to having to only come into lives 20 hours a month, and I didn't want to do that. But I want you to put it on that wall. I want you to take a picture, and I want you to put it in that wall, and I want you to show it on the group. And we're all going to be rooting for it. If it helps you through your everyday life, I don't know if you live with anybody, you may not want to be doing nail art at 3 o'clock in the morning. But if you don't live with somebody, then, and you live by yourself, go ahead, nail it in at 3 o'clock in the morning. But, like I said, if I can't sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm up doing my crochet. If I'm in pain, I'm doing my crochet. And now I've got this realm to talk to and have you all a part of it. And I hope that I can continue to do it, and we can have fun at this. And I may need some help, just, and let's put topics into the group that things that you would like for me to talk about. And we can start a discussion about those things, topics you think were worthy to talk about, because we're gonna talk about them. So that's funny. My husband would probably sleep right through it. He would. If he's out, he'll just sleep right. I can turn on the light in the middle of the night and crochet, and he'll still be sleeping. I couldn't do it for me, but anyway, I'm gonna let you go. Please invite people to the YouTube channel. Invite them to be a Lighthouse Beacon. And I'm so glad that I could come on. Join me Friday as we talk about the things I learned doing my temperature blanket. And I think that it's worthy to say that it's not just for those people looking, and I'll try to angle it that way, that are going to do a temperature blanket. But I think there's a lot you can learn about doing a temperature blanket or just living life and not always having, there's sometimes we don't need to wing it. It is kind of like my battle plan of how I went in to do my temperature blanket. Well, you can use that battle plan. I think you can do with anything in life. So come join me Friday. Maybe Saturday I'll come on and we'll maybe do just talking and crochet or something like that. I won't be on Monday because that's my time where I go to the therapist, and I usually am pretty tuckered after that. And then hopefully we'll see when my daughter can come on next week and I can figure that whole thing out. So anyway, it was my husband's birthday yesterday, so we just had a very, 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 very quiet day. Unfortunately, in the middle of the night, he didn't feel great, but he's feeling a little bit better tonight. But we just had a quiet, peaceful day. I let him have the TV all day, and we both were so tired. There wasn't much we could do to celebrate. So anyway, if you're still on here, wish him happy birthday, because it was his birthday yesterday, and my daughter and son-in-law called and wished him a happy birthday, and which was wonderful. And then I'm very blessed that I have him for my husband, and maybe one of these days we can have him come on, if he would be so brave as to come on. But one of the reasons I'm doing that backdrop I showed you is because I tend to rub the chair against the wall here. And I like it better having that, but we got to figure out how to put it up so I don't damage the wall. So I'm going to let everybody go. Have a good night. If you're here, go check out the Lifeboat. Thank you for coming on. Have people subscribe, as well as send people to be beacons over at the Facebook group. Have a great night, everybody. God bless. And I'm going to end with this tonight. It's not going to be a Bible verse, but this is what I'm going to end with. It doesn't really say in the Bible that God is going to not give us too much that we can't handle. But it does say this in the Bible. This is the way I look at it. God's not going to give us too much that we can't handle. But we can't handle anything without God. So even though it doesn't say the first part in the Bible, that's my phrase, is when I say, if somebody says to me, God's not going to give you more than you can handle. I said, that's really not in the Bible. But you know what my finishing phrase to that is? You can't handle anything without God. So have a good night, everybody. Spread the blessings. Thank you for coming on, and see you next time.